just the learning thing, man, and especially like being in music and like figuring out what it takes to like survive as a musician, like time is the master.
Time is the fucking master,
you know what I mean?
bro.
Like
patience and time.
Killa Kela Podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Killa Kela Podcast live show. Step into the live and dangerous world of music and street culture's #1 magazine platform, the Killa Kela Podcast live show. Special guests alongside performances, news, reviews, profile pieces to a live studio audience. Your monthly live stream is here. Hit Facebook page Killa Kela Official. THTC, the UK's leading ethical streetwear label. Organically grown and ethically built garments from hemp, organic cotton and other sustainable materials. 2019 is their 20th anniversary year. Join me with THTC as a Killa Kela podcast sponsor celebrating music, social activism, hemp and street culture. THTC, eco-fashion redefined since 1999. Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Killa Kela Podcast, transmitting live central London, or as central as you need to be. From the Keller Watchtower. Big shout outs to my people's graffiti kings. Now, inside the ride, we're on a different flex today, and I kind of fucking like it. It's Josh from the Skints. How are we feeling, brother?
What's going on, bruv?
How are you?
Thanks for having me, mate. Yeah.
And yeah, man, my guy. The whole collective, really. It's some next. It's London. It's like ska meets grime meets that. It's got the whole thing going on. And I'm really vibing on it, bro.
Cool, man.
Really vibing.
Love
on
that,
it.
man.
Yeah. And for those of you who haven't checked them out, well, then, go for it. But yeah, I thought I'd jump straight in on that. And get the introductories out of the way. We actually met on at Fubar Radio, didn't we?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we did, just before they wrapped it for Christmas. And it was a semi-wild night in the end, actually, after that show. Those guys can really stick the Prosecco away.
Those guys just ran the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole spot for the night was
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a spot. But yeah, no, it was good to meet you. Obviously, I've known your name and who you are for years and years through, like, Reaps and all that. And then it was like, I was in a room full of people that I knew that you also knew as well. And it was just one of those little the stickle bricks.
Ain't that the way? The DNA connective tissue of music.
Yeah,
it's just forever. It never surprises me that good people know good people.
For sure, man. 100%. And especially like it's like almost. So to me, it always seems to be like the music people that aren't like in the inner like industry size. It's more like the people that kind of do their own thing that exist outside of that all seem to know each other through the same sort of, whether it's like festivals or promoters they work with or whatever. There's always seems to be some sort of connection between quote unquote the real ones.
And I really feel that like more than ever, like with the way the music industry quote unquote.
Yeah.
Actually, it is industry. The business is something else, but the industry as a whole, it's its own ecosystem and has these kind of pockets, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
I love the fact that right. So we literally before we pressed record on this, Josh was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, I know Reaps from back in the day. Reaps one, as we all know, is a regular.
Shout out Reaps, man.
He's a regular guest on the podcast.
Okay, cool.
Man. Yeah, that's my dog. Like, if you're talking about somebody that's always supported the shit that I do, and vice versa, I love the fact that you know him from back in the day. Explain a bit more about that.
Yeah, so Harry, like, obviously the Skints were from, like, the northeast London sort of area. So Harry was also from one of the local parts as well. And Harry's the same school year as me. He's a few months older than me, so we've known him through our friend's band. I can't even remember if I knew him through our friend's band Clay Pigeon or if it was through just people from Hines Park that I know Harry. But at some point, when early Skint shows, Harry used to like jump up at like these local shows that I was putting on and just be like beatboxing and blowing the kids' minds. We're like 16 at this point or something. And for years he would do that, you know what I mean, in our London shows and as the band grew and stuff, even he's still like a few years ago he like came at Coco and like did a thing, and there's like a video collab that we did for SBTV a few years ago of him like beatboxing with Jamie and Marcia, doing a Far Side cover. That's pretty gnarly for a Skints deep cut.
Dude,
if anyone's out there,
I'm now starting to get memory murmurs of like this.
Yeah.
I think I remember a couple of times that he did stuff with you, and it was on Instagram.
Yeah, it's pretty some internet moments, but there's plenty of moments before, you know, people had social media like they have it now, where Harry was jumping up on stage and doing his thing, but he was more involved with our buddy's band Clay Pigeon. He was on like their records and stuff. That was like the first band we ever toured with, and Harry like came out for a few days on that tour and stuff, and it was like 2 bands in between 3 cars. Like
really
around England. That was like the first tour, bro.
Were you guys just touring it and chopping it and doing the thing?
Dude, that was how this all started, man. It was literally, I had a Fiat Punto. I bought a Fiat Punto when I was like 18 and learned how to drive to be able to like take our band on tour. We could get like an amp in the back and a box of merch. And then it would be like me and Marcia sitting in the front, and then John and Jamie would be in the back seats with like guitars on their laps.
That's cool.
All
Desire,
that.
man. Straight desire.
Bruv, yeah, we were going and we're like driving out, no plan, playing the show, saying on stage, yo, can we sleep on someone's floor tonight? And some cool, usually some like a punk house or some like hippies or would be like, yeah, you can like crash on our floor or whatever.
Was that within your social media reach, or was that like just you just hollering out at someone?
Yeah, this is like when we started doing all that. This is like kind of the MySpace days, towards the end of that. So we're like booking our own stuff, like partly through MySpace, partly through like website and finding the email or whatever. But this is for like, you know, nothing, like maybe 30 quid petrol money.
So we're talking about 2009, 2010.
Yeah, we're like this specifically, we're talking like 2008 was like our first tour. Yeah. And then like 2000, and then towards the end of 2008, we took on like a proper tour. We were still in the car by a band called the King Blues, who were like big in the punk scene at the time. And they were really having a moment. And they took us out off the back of like our first little EP that we made. And then pretty like, 2009, we started like hiring a dude that had a van for like 50 quid a day to like drive us around. And then we were just like, on the road, sleeping on the floors, just up and down the UK all year round. Literally 150 shows a year for like, I think 2009, 2010, 2011, we did like 500 gigs or something mental like that in those 3 years.
And your Fiat put you.
Yeah, no, this wasn't in the Punto. The Punto didn't. At this point, we're now in like probably like a converted like LDV ex-post office van, them kind of things. Okay, or so like an old Ford Transit. Like, you know,
those ones you get on the higher forums of Facebook.
Man. We had like, we kind of, as more shows we played and got connections, we had like this crew of like crusties from Manchester that had like some beat up vans that would like drive us around for like...
Yeah, man, I'll do it, yeah. Love it.
All of that, man. And that was really how we got this whole thing cracking. And obviously, that time, like maybe Facebook's about by this point now, but yeah, we had like a first punk rock booking agent at that point that kind of put us in that just toilet circuit that we were just absolutely non-stop touring in, man. Yeah,
there is a hard edge to what you guys are up to, but punk and reggae and now especially when infused with like a modern day sound, it's always been hand in hand, hasn't it?
Right.
It's always been a hand.
I mean, definitely, like in this country, in this city specifically, you know, the punk and the reggae connection is. You're talking like from 1977, really.
Don Letts lives around the corner.
Right, there you go. Yeah, Don Letts is the man. He's probably a key player in that relationship, and it's sometimes something that's. I mean, obviously, like, you know, the ska two-tone business, that was kind of a fusion of the Jamaican music and the punk thing as well. But a lot of people now, even in London, to be fair, that aren't aware of the histories of stuff, aren't aware of how long and deep that connection goes, and especially in America as well. Something where it's like it's very separate worlds and stuff.
It's rigid really by industry design.
Yeah,
Pump this kind of music to this kind of people. No, don't have that one.
To be honest with you, that is still a thing. Like even now, like that we're, you know, more quote unquote like advanced group or whatever, and we've been around for, you know, like 12, 13 years now.
Yeah, now
and we know, we know a bit more how things work, but we still like, you know, our whole thing is like blending styles and fusing, you know, sounds and culture and all that sort of thing. Like that's been our whole thing from the get-go. And we still come up against that now, like all the time. Like our last album, Swimming Lessons and stuff, like sonically is pretty schizophrenic. That's how we like it, but you know, you come with conversations with like PR people and radio people that are like, no, like it can't be this and this as well. Like, no, we're gonna need it to be in one or the other. And
totally and utterly been there, and that's what. See, this is the thing. We can't blame them, because that is ultimately because they're right. These PR people, they're representing themselves and their company when approaching like radio stations and magazines and whatever. So they have to kind of find their box. But for us, I mean, especially the Reaps and Me's of the world, where we're trying to do something different with our mouths, like what the fuck? So I totally appreciate what you're saying. Where you're just,
you know, I do kind of blame them, because those same people and platforms, even because we're talking about placement on platforms in that respect, like they will never put their hands up and say that like they're like closed-minded to like music. Do you know what I mean? We're in like 2020 now. Like everything you can think of, like the blending, like it's happened.
But they're fighting a beast.
Like,
they're attacking the beast.
Dude, like Bad Brains was happening like what, like nearly 40 years ago. The Clash, Fishbone, like all these bands that influenced us. Like this is like nothing new. But then there's, you know, the boxers, the people that have to put things will look at us like we're freaks because we want to.
Do you think they're the boxers, or do you think the people that they're approaching to, like the liberal music machine listeners, the kind of people that would, you know, activate they can be on A-list, or they can be on the front cover?
I think it is the gatekeepers.
They're the boxes.
They are, because the problem is that like, you know, nowadays the music industry isn't the fat guy in the suit with the cigar saying, you know, I'm gonna make you a millionaire and all that. Like that's not what it is now. Now the guy in the suit with the power is probably a lot of times like an ex-musician, or like have had some sort of success, whether it's management or A&R or something themselves. So they think that they know everything. Because they're like, they're actually probably someone that is like a bit younger and trendier and feels like they are in touch with everything that's going on. And they're like, well, this doesn't fit. And I know, because I'm down with what is the cool thing.
And meanwhile, all their creativity and thinking fast, and it's all calcifying, and they're getting stuck in their old ways.
Yeah,
and
man.
Shit.
And it's like, and to me, that's more dangerous.
100%.
Almost than the guy in the suit chomping on the cigar
and the PR
being
companies.
like, oh, let's give it a go, because people are into it. Now it's literally like, and you know, streams and views and all the number, and it being like, who has got the big number? This is going to be the new thing. To me, that's like dangerous too, because
that's
you're
some
just
bullshit.
Taking out any art aspect of it, and we're just like, oh, the number. This is the hot new thing because he has got the biggest number on his YouTube video, and that's why it's good. Like, to me, it's completely backwards. And it also creates like a kind of mafia style industry where, I mean, you look at like the playlist on some of the big stations and you realize that those DJs on those stations are like managing artists that are on the playlist, and they're producing tracks that are on the playlist, and you're like, well, if we could see inside that meeting, I don't think we'd be looking at a very long conversation about like, I wonder if this, do you know what I mean? Like, it's actually...
Hello, me, yes, me, what should we do?
Shall we put my song on the playlist? I think that'd be great. Like, It's kind of... Yeah, it's really baffling to me. And, you know, and if you're coming from outside that and not in that inner circle, you're playing a losing game.
It's corrupt.
Yeah, massively.
It's corrupt.
It's the mob.
It's always been that way, hasn't it? I would imagine that there were different hurdles back in 1977, 1987, 97. Right. We weren't around at the time to experience it.
Right.
But when it hit 2007 and you're out on the road and you're doing it, and the things that you weren't thinking about the main things I would imagine you were thinking about were like, fuck, dude, like, where could this possibly lead to? And you jump in your car and you're just fucking doing it.
Dude, I mean, when it started, our first ever goal was to play at our local venue, which was the Standard in Walthamstow, which we completed that quite quickly. It wasn't very hard to get a show there, but like when we were kids, that was like, oh my God, play there. Yeah. And then like after that, started touring around. Like the biggest band, and this is the crazy thing about like coming from like the ska punk world, the biggest band we could imagine being was like headlining the Camden Underworld, which is like a 500 people. That was like the biggest bands we were into were like headlining the Underworld. So to us, it was like, and we didn't even know nothing about like money, like anything. We're just like, you're a kid into these bands, and that's the place where all my favorite bands are playing. Like, we're headlining the Camden Underworld, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The levels.
And we did that in like, 2010, 2011. And then then you get there and you realise like, it's not enough. Like, what's the next thing? And here we are still in 2020 or whatever. But, it's crazy, dude. I think that's ever evolving as well. Like the goal is 13 years later, you realise that it never stops.
No. The goals, the mental goals shift a lot, don't they?
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? How's that? Right, because I've never been in a band situation, not in a sizable one.
Okay.
Where, I guess as you guys grow up, I mean, you're a young band still, but like, it, by comparison, but your opinions and choices and music appreciations, they all change and differ. Like, how does time work for a band of a size?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. In some ways, it's like, it's a really like, it's an attitude thing, like depending on how you think about it. In some ways, like almost time is, irrelevant because you're like wrapped yourself in this creativity and like this journey that, I mean, the blessing we've had, we've been a band in May, we would have been the same people in the band for 13 years.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
That's fucking
yeah.
And
safe.
That's for real.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know anyone that's happened to that hasn't, considering we've never had like a major deal. Obviously, I mean, it's gone like that, like very slowly. We've not had like a hit song or like a spike peaking moment. It's just kind of been a slow upward gradient.
All the best are, man.
Which is cool, but same way, like that also means that there's never been this like injection of money that kind of sorted everybody out to like keep going. Do you know what I mean? It's just been like the passion. I mean, we're lucky enough where it is a career now, but it has just been a thing of like faith and belief and trust and all that kind of stuff. But
that's what creates cult followings, though, right? You become this. I mean, there's always a comparable of cult followings, like, I don't know, like The Streets, for instance. There's a great example of someone that probably had a little less intentions of being as successful as he was, and to kind of get over that mental hurdle was one thing. But to be a cult band or a cult act and go over that net, I think that takes time. Yeah,
I do too. And to be honest with you, I said, when we just released our 4th album last year, but I said this to someone in a meeting around the album, I'm like really glad and grateful that we like haven't had a hit or peaking moment up to that point, because I feel like in people's minds you're like always gonna be like that. And I'm kind of glad that like any of our previous styles, sonically, visually, I'm glad that it's had time to evolve. Do you know what I mean? I'm glad that it wasn't like when our first record came out and we were like 19 or whatever, and looking like a bunch of scruffy little fuckers or whatever. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm kind of glad. I'm happy that it is still like continuing and the style is growing in all aspects. On the other hand, is what you said about time. Just the learning thing, man, and especially like being in music and like figuring out what it takes to like survive as a musician. Like, time is the master.
Time is the fucking master,
you know what I mean?
bro.
Like
patience and time.
Like John Holt said, man, time is the master, because there's.
I swear to God, you're right.
Yeah, it is, because that's the only thing that can really teach you. Like, what's going on that you can learn from, and
that's why they take away your time when you do something bad and you go to prison.
yeah,
It's because they know
it's the most valuable thing that any of us have, bruv. Yeah,
It's it.
totally.
And yeah, as long as you, what's it I said the other day? And this is my shit. Okay, look after the. Yeah, it was like about the new year, you know. People was like, "Oh, 2020, and you know, New Year's resolutions." I was like, my mind, I'm like, look after the minutes, because the years will look after themselves.
Yeah,
It's the same. It's think of it like that in that currency term, and yeah, just like value every minute of it, isn't it? You know.
totally, man.
I think artists do a lot more of that, don't they?
Yeah, I think, yeah, and don't get me wrong, like when you're in a career situation and you're always got to be thinking about the next thing, the next few months, the next year, and all that, like you can really forget to appreciate what is happening in that moment. You know what I mean? And I got so many buddies that are in like now split up bands and stuff that are like, you know, dude, like just make sure like you're enjoying what you're doing like that day at the time, because it's very easy like being like, oh, what we've got right now isn't enough and looking for the next thing. But when it's done, you know what I mean, and you got to go get a real job, whatever, like you will miss that you were doing on those days where you were thinking about like, oh, but next year we need to be here, or whatever.
Yeah, totally. I think we all take that for granted, but I don't. Nothing more in terms of taking for granted comes to my forefront than when a band I really like do split up. I'm like, you know, Tekashi 6ix9ine, okay, right, for all the bullshit that he's kind of created himself now.
Yeah.
I miss 2 years ago when that whole virality of like what he's doing, and then this Trippie Redd, you know, that whole.
What's this crazy fucker gonna do next?
Yeah,
sort of thing.
I used to love that stuff, and now that he's gone, it's like, oh, this is a bit quiet now, isn't it? You know, a couple of bands I remember that I just I was absolutely fascinated by, and I wanted to be part of their gang. You know, and then they disappear, and you just wish that time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird one, man. I think the bands thing. I mean, and bands can be applied to kind of any genre of music that is like more than one person doing something, but you know, bands with like guitars and drums, like I think we like grew up and got together in the era where there was like kind of too many bands, so many bands. And it's funny, I feel like kids now, like there's less, I'm sure there are bands starting every day, but like not like there was 15 years ago. I feel like music in general, I don't know, like there are bands definitely in the mainstream that are big and come through right now, but I feel like kids now are not as fussed about being in a band and more probably fussed about being a producer or a rapper or even a combination of the two, like a producer or whatever, like in a kind of a different way.
What do you think that is?
Musical climate, you know, being in a band can be expensive to like get your act together and do it.
Backline and all
yeah,
that,
but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe like it's just the way the pendulum is swung right now. But I feel like when we first started, you know, we were like, especially in our genre of music, we were like the babies, you know. And like 10 years later, we're in that world and we're obviously a lot more like rungs up the ladder and a bit more like of a face in that scene. But we're still like, when we tour and go to festivals in that world, we're still like the young band. We're like 29.
Yeah, it's mad.
There's not like a little, well, maybe there is, but
no, there isn't. I get you.
I've got my ear to the ground of this sort of thing. I live in that world, and there's not like a little Skints like we were. That's like, you know, bugging every man, like take us on tour, that are like that same age, that are willing to like we did, throw all the chips in and like be like, let's just go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
No, I get it. Just going back to the industry thing, right? As you were talking, I thought to myself, because in past podcasts I've kind of harked to well, there's no record labels no more, like putting money into your backline, so then the bands are going to get shrunk. There's either going to be two, like, you know, Slaves, or, you know,
right,
or there's your situation where they'll just go immediately to a playback machine or a DJ, because it's the cheapest macro self-serving thing. Get on a laptop, done, throw it out. But what you just said there, I think one of the bigger things, a little bit of a revelation in my head, is we've gone through a cycle of Americanized music that came in 2002, 2003. The reaction of that was the streets for Britain, which kind of opened doors to grime and all sorts of things like that. But they still adopt an American attitude, an hip-hop attitude to the way they produce and excel. Features on tracks, get in the studio, do the thing, throw the tune out, dub plate. You know? When the band world, it isn't about that. It's about live gigs. And it's about like authenticity and integrity to what you're doing as a collective and with your instrument. How's about this? Generations on from when the hip-hop thing came over in 2002, 2003, perhaps there are people in the record industry now that, unlike when Oasis came out, don't actually know how to promote a band.
I think marketing definitely has a big thing to do with it. I also think the way music is produced, like there seems to be a thing now that's sort of like this thing that people say since like the death of the CD industry, where people are like, well, records are so cheap to make now. Any kid in their room can just like make a record.
It's
like,
a toss, yeah.
And it's true, but it's not, because it's not going to be very good. And number one, like 100%. If you're talking about a band where you're recording live drums and guitars, like you're going to need to go to a studio where there's like decent stuff. Unless you're trying to make some like shitty sounding on purpose, like a punk record that is like meant to sound like crap. But if you're trying to produce decent music, like that's not cheap to do.
Right, that's right.
And with live instrumentation, do you know what I mean? Not just a sample pack and a computer.
100%.
I think, and
there's a lot of stages.
Yeah, like I think the investment in that, like people don't really want to do it so much, and like you say, obviously, like with hip hop, rap music being like the dominant culture, and the fact that music, building beats and stuff isn't as expensive as like recording like live band the whole time, and how that translates into a live show. And therefore, how that translates into like a booking fee, and how many people have to split that fee and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and living in London.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's mental. Like, so if you got like a rapper that just needs him and a dude with the USB sticks for the CDJs and his fee, and he can like go in, he can go smash out like three. I mean, I DJ. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do it. I can go out and with USBs and get paid whatever.
And actually, it's a shit ton of fun.
Yeah,
it's like it's like flashbang. There we go, wicked. I get it
totally. But I think what you said about how to market the avenue. I mean, it is like you said, like there were probably other challenges in 1977, 87, 97, all this sort of stuff. There were, you are with the internet now and our own social media, like you are in control of your own destiny a bit more. You can go out and build and access people in a way that definitely record labels held the keys to
for real.
Previously. But to like elevate to like higher levels, like how you reach the people that are going to be your people is a thing that I think a lot of people with industry salaries don't necessarily know how to do any better than you do.
That's the
truth. The difference between you and them is the fact that they're in that office with that paycheck,
pressing that button, ready to go. Yeah.
But a lot of, I've seen it like crash and burn. Honestly, I don't think, apart from like Slaves is like the only band I can think of, maybe Gallows. But I always have the conversation, especially the major labels. Like I don't think in my lifetime, lifetime, or at least teenage to adult lifetime, there's been a major label signing of a punk band or a reggae band that has worked. Yeah. That's worked.
Yeah.
Is I mean, there've been plenty of signings, but whether or not it's took off, Slaves I think is maybe the only one.
Is it Royal Blood? Is that another one?
Yeah, I give Royal Blood. I wouldn't call them punk rock band.
No, they're just kind of more. Yeah, they're kind of more arena-y.
Yeah, they're like a rock band. But I mean, I'm talking about like those two genres that have that kind of more of a
aggression to the
DIY history and a political history in this country. I feel like signings of that like haven't really been had their marketing potential achieved properly, which is kind of one of the reasons why we've been quite skeptical.
Skeptical, but does that also make you challenged? Does that give you like that? You know what I mean, fighting the dog. Does that make you want to like, as a collective? That must be like a mission brief.
I mean, it's had to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. Do you know what I mean?
I love a good mission brief, mate.
Yeah.
Click, click, click.
Yeah, like you have to, man. Like you have to go and get it, cause you know, it's like anyone. Like, I'm sure you're the same way about your own stuff. Like, it's like, this is my baby. Like, am I gonna give my child to be like nurtured by someone that I don't trust? Like, no way.
You know what?
That I think has maybe abused someone else's kids.
Oh yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Like,
like,
true.
like,
Yeah, I get you.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of.
I get you.
Yeah.
You can almost smell the trail of destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you go. Have this. You know.
Yeah.
Go and run that up the pole and see who salutes.
Yeah.
You know. I know what you mean. That being said, though, I've never really been. I'm very much and I'm sure you are. I know this isn't what you were saying, but I'm quite an open door when it comes to not people's opinions. That's where you're talking about being precious. I get that. There's a circle that I like to operate, especially back in the day when I was doing albums and stuff. When I knew that it was on my shoulders, I like inviting people in that are contributing, adding value to the thing that we all have an understanding of. And when it comes to like a label marketer or somebody that is genuinely, I'm kind of all right with it. If someone said to me, let's got to go over there, and you're thinking to yourself, well, that's a bit commercial, I've always kind of been all right with it.
Yeah, no. To be honest with you, I don't mean to be clear, I don't mean marketing in general. Obviously, we've worked with labels. We do like one album deals with independent labels. I'm more talking about the when you've signed that major label record deal that writes you out of any say as to what happens to it. Really, I'm talking about the majors specifically. And I don't think I don't think, you know, as a disclaimer, I don't think all major labels and everyone that works with them is like inherently evil. To be honest with you, most of the time a major label signs a band, singer, whoever, they have the absolute best intentions of that person doing well. It's just that when it doesn't do well straight away,
then it's dropped.
Then it's like, you're out. And there's no, I feel like, and going back to like the numbers thing now it's more, it's like it doesn't hit instantly, you're getting dropped. Whereas back in the day, there was maybe a bit more chances.
Yeah, you get 3 strikes people. Almost. It's
I mean, Bruce Springsteen didn't blow up till like his 5th album.
Dude, I keep on.
Do you know what I mean? He's like still the biggest selling concert performer in America. Yeah. Now, if Bruce Springsteen, if they sign Bruce now, and his first album didn't bang, he'd be out. And then you would never have had
I'm
him.
telling you, man.
I mean?
Like, and there's so many artists back in the day where you think they were of an age, but they, young age.
Yeah.
They're not, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think someone told me Debbie Harry was like 35 when she got.
Yeah.
When Blondie really blew up.
Yeah, Bill Withers wrote like I can't remember what song it was. Whatever the first Bill Withers hit was, it was like 32 something.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You just can't really imagine. I mean, like, you can, like, obviously, like 30-plus-year-olds, 40-plus-year-olds, like, you can build your own thing now, but it's like, but down that more commercial route, you'd struggle to imagine it today. But I understand why. You know, it's like those A&Rs, like, records aren't selling, and those A&Rs' jobs are on the line just as much as that artist's career's on the line. I understand why these things happen, but it is pretty unforgiving.
Yeah, it's unforgiving. You said earlier about the pendulum swinging. There is an argument that everyone has their place in the sun. Mm-hmm. They have their time, and perhaps there is a lot of forward thinking with the rap MC genre that just allows them to be out in the sun a little bit longer. They adapt to things a lot quicker. I think there's a reaction to rap that came inherently from their conscious approach to reporting.
I think it's forward thinking. I think, rap, MC-based music, across the board, across many genres of MC-based music, is one of the only styles where, like, I mean, maybe like hip-hop in a more old-school sense isn't the case, but definitely after the 90s, it's one of the only genres where, like, paying homage to the people that come before you like doesn't mean shit
anymore, bro. And why is that?
You know
that
what I mean?
shit just baffles me.
Like, you know, I'm coming from the punk world and the reggae world.
Yeah.
If I didn't know who like the Clash were or who Peter Tosh was, like they would.
Yeah, you wouldn't be on stage.
Do you know what I mean? Like they would just like cut my head off for that straight away.
Yeah.
If I was like, yeah, fuck those guys, and then I'm still trying. You know what I mean? But hip hop, like it is so forward thinking that it almost like the whole point of it is like, you know, killing what come before you.
It's
Do you know what I mean? And like
joke-proof.
that's like whack. You know what I mean? That style that was in 2 years ago, that's whack now. Even like Grime, bro. Like Grime had its resurgence a couple years back.
Yeah.
More than a couple now. In like the mid 2010s, and now, dude, you ask any 18-year-old kid right now, Grime's not cool. It's the drill thing and the
It's
Afrobeats
crazy, isn't
thing.
it? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas, and then, you know, in 2014, 2015, everyone was like, Grime's back, Grime's cool again.
Yeah.
It's now like,
Yeah, it's slowly on the
yeah.
dec, and you can hear it by the Stormzy's beats now are getting a lot more, well, like the 808 thing has always been it, but it just feels like a lot more Americanized. It got Grime
it
as
just
a
has
whole.
to be Grime. But like, Stormzy
Yeah.
can't be the biggest rapper in the country trying to do some revival shit.
No,
He has to be
it's
on
true.
what's the hot thing today, otherwise
Yeah.
he's not the hot thing today.
Yeah. And the Afrobeat thing is it. The
Yeah.
drill thing is it. These are
Yeah.
the new genre benchmarks, isn't it?
Yeah. But none of those, like, I would be very surprised if like many of those cats are like gonna be like, oh yeah, like this. I owe this whole thing to like listening to like Dizzy Rascal and Rinse FM with like Slimzy in 2003. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just not that kind of respect.
It's not the
paid.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's mad, isn't it? And I don't know. I think we should count ourselves pretty lucky that, you know, we've made our names in within a certain genre that allows us to be to have people hold flames for us and say, well, you know, the Skints were, you know, they're doing this, they're still legacy holding right now, and I remember them from blah blah blah, and they were into this sort of thing. Like you say, I mean, how many? No one knows who Beastie Boys are in a grime world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
We haven't.
Even though they probably indirectly owe a lot to them.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna highlight. I'd be so surprised if you asked anyone in the grime scene right now, like, what is?
But Eminem will. Eminem, who's
Yeah.
the leg up from that thing, he recites it, and then other people recite Eminem, and it's slowly, the fault line slowly diminishes, and then Instagram comes, and then everything gets reset. Click, that's it. No one even know what Eminem's doing no more.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's true, dude. 100% true.
Yeah. Do you think technology plays a part in that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, you know, as well as like, being able to like I said, like being able to carve your own destiny without, you know, the laws of the gatekeepers, you know, whether that's like, you know, booking your own shows and starting to make those connections in a way that you might not have been able to before social media. I think it also allows people to edit their own histories or edit their own stories as it's coming out. Like, you know, obviously Instagram's only going to be the best stuff that you show.
Yeah.
And with that, especially within artistry, it's like, yeah, you're kind of, you can dictate like how that story comes across.
Or dilute.
Yep.
Dilute.
Totally. Yeah. I think there's a lot more like, you made a point earlier of about something, certain artists now that I think there are definitely some mainstream artists now that I can imagine, like back in the day when I was a kid, people have been like, this is fake, this guy's a sellout, this can't fly. And now, because of like the information that you release, that you can release yourself, or that your marketing team can release about yourself, it's like people are plugged in so many different things that that's almost like not really as cared about, like the authenticity side, the integrity side, like what you've done, like getting your stripes kind of matters less now.
Yeah. Especially for a younger cat that's coming through. It's like they don't even need to know too much about the background and what they...
Yeah, like you don't have to have been like around in like a scene of any kind.
Do you
locally.
actually have to be into music? Do you have to be in? I mean, like when I was, God, coming up, it's like I felt like it was a duty to go back.
Bruv,
Do you know what I mean?
100 trillion %. 100 trillion %. That was like my whole thing. It's like every band I was into that was like around at the time, like I wanted to know like who were they into and like about all that world, and then who was that? You know what I mean? It was pretty obsessive, to be honest with you. But like it felt like right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was like it felt like the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
And
the fucking truth.
Yeah. There's, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like the truth can be easily edited.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I sound really old saying all this.
You know what? I've come at the other side of that feeling, and my ultimate desire is to meet in the middle, like as a platform, as a podcast. I think a lot of other podcasts feel the same way, especially in music or any sort of genre that has history. Mm-hmm. Like, I love the new shit, and it's just having an opportunity to, like, fucking sit them here, you know what I mean? And sit older cats here, older than us, way older than us, and we're just, like, chopping up on a well-balanced conversation that, and yeah, sounding old, I guess it depends on what side you feel you're on.
I mean, you know, I'm not, like, I still find new music that I like every week. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like some, you know, I mean, shit, I'm putting out new music into the world. Like, you know, my band's like 13 years old, but it's a long time, but it's not that long.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
And you know, and I think, I still think there is great music being created all the time, but by and large at a grassroots level, I just think it's changed in a lot of ways since I started doing it.
And quality is a huge problem. Like, the congestion, you know, it's just, you can't keep up. You can't possibly listen to everything that you get seen done on the film.
Yeah, totally.
It's just impossible.
And cutting through the noise, like, for any artist, like, including myself, like, I do not envy anyone trying to cut through the noise.
Imagine starting now. Can you imagine that shit?
I don't like... I said this. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I was like, this is like my band that I'm gonna do. Like, if the Skints breaks up tomorrow, I'm not gonna go and start another band and try and do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think maybe you'll share that sensibility, right? I mean, for you guys to be doing it for so long.
Yeah,
and killing it with each step, you know.
Right. I mean, that I would be. I mean, I'm not saying I'm never gonna make music again, but in terms of like doing a career band, it's like I cannot imagine. Like, I mean. You know, I guess maybe I can. Like, at the time, obviously, I was a young kid, like, super down to just, like, figure it out. And I still am. We are still figuring it out every day. But, like, from that, like, 0 point to now, start figuring it out and cut through the noise, it's like, yeah, crazy, man. But I maybe wouldn't be that crazy. Because we are a band that has existed purely... We're a band that's existed, like, post the death of the record industry.
That's right.
So, it's not, like... It is a little bit like the social media's changed a bit, but in terms of like, it's not like we've, you know, a lot of the bands, especially like bigger American bands that we've like supported over the years, they've come from like the 90s where they were selling like 250,000, 500,000 records, no problem. And they're not even like famous. Do you know what I mean?
Which is, that is equally mind blowing when you think about this, the landscape now. I'm of the belief that, I mean, you know, you've got a livelihood. I have a livelihood. Like, you can be under the radar at least in this world of music and the music industry. You know, that's a real powerful position.
Totally. And I think that like now, on a positive note, more than ever now, you can like. I mean, our whole thing is like, you know, we build the tribe and feed them. Like having your own people.
Yeah.
Like we fall in between the gaps of like so many. The Skints has always been like. Trying to fit the circle in the square or square in the circle, whatever. And that it's like it's not quite rock music enough. It's not quite reggae music enough. But we've had footholds in like various different worlds and managed to exist within. And I think now, you know, back in the day, it was like there was like, you know, like YouTube videos now. You can make your own thing and get it seen by so many people, whereas back in the day it was like, oh, there's an MTV for like rock music, there's an MTV for rap music, and unless your video was on there, it was not deemed to be successful.
Didn't even exist.
Yeah, totally. Do you know what I mean? So like things like
insane.
that.
Yeah.
You know,
think about them gatekeep.
Yeah, like that was like
then.
serious gate. That was like literally like you're in or you're out. And now there's so many. It's so fractured, and you know, whether whether it's a YouTube channel or, you know, a set on a radio show or any of the millions, hundreds of thousands of platforms that exist now, like there is going to be something out there that's relevant to what you do. And that I think is kind of more exciting than having to go down the path of like, it's like all or nothing kind of vibe.
And you talk about the tribe thing, like, I know, you know, numbers isn't everything, but your socials are reflecting on what on face value is like, man, I don't know many rock bands, punk bands, reggae bands that have that kind of following. A lot of band orientated music, it's almost like an afterthought that social media is important.
Yeah,
you've got this thing going. You've got it. You're active.
Thanks,
you know what
man.
I mean?
Yeah, it's a funny one. I feel like generally, in terms of like what people might follow on Instagram or Twitter and Facebook, like I feel like solo artists. I feel like the thing people fear about like following a band is that like all it is just a constant stream of like just like buy this, which kind of, you know, it is for everyone, but like with like a solo artist, whether that's a singer, a rapper, a beatboxer, an artist, whoever, it's gonna be more like personable because it's like their own thing. So yeah, but I mean, we try and interact and maintain and just keep like, you know, we're effectively not to reduce what we do, but we're in the entertainment business, so like we try and keep the whole from the live show to the records to the social media, like we try and keep it like aesthetically pleasing to a degree.
And like you were saying about crossing, I mean, like we met at Fubar, you know, which as a show, big up Michael Payne and Marcel, by the way, and my girl Nat King, hold tight. You know, it's a very broad look at urban music, but a lot of it is upcoming, new, fresh. You know, it's that. So yeah, it kind of goes with what you're saying about, you know, just trying to. You're weaving within the parameters of what all of you as a collective love, and you're doing it with integrity. You know what I mean?
No, thanks, man.
Sick.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly out there. Like, you know, trying to. Yeah, especially like for this, like so many bands in our styles, I know do struggle with the social media thing, and even like, you know, I was checking our YouTube numbers of like the tracks we put out from this album this year, and like that versus like rappers that came out yesterday that were on like Link Up TV or whatever. I mean, it's like, and like, don't get me wrong, like the two art forms are not like comparable.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, oh no, like we're, because we haven't got like 2 million views in a day, like we've failed, like, because that kid's probably never been on a stage before. But it is like remarkable the internet reaction and reach that like different styles of music seem to have. And I don't know whether it's like an age of a fan base thing or whether like, you know, things are sort of virally just getting like spread at a higher rate or whatever it is.
I think it's a whole cluster.
And don't get me wrong, there are definitely, I know obviously people can buy these numbers as well. That's a thing, but
and there's also
it's pretty mind blowing.
There's also like drill has had its fucking head chopped off so many times. Like they don't even get numbers. They end up having to go to Pornhub to put their videos out.
I mean, that shit's crazy. Yeah,
I loved that shit.
But guess what? We're
amazing.
talking about it right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So like it, you know,
the virality of like, I mean, and this is, you know, again, you said something a minute ago which actually triggered a bit of a kind of wormhole that I was thinking while listening to you. Like, the world as it is right now is incredibly fractured. The record industry became fractured mostly by its own fucking doing. But, you know, Napster days. There seems to be I think there's a forecast that you can see in the creative properties of music and the music world that almost forecasts the decline of civilization. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah. 100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
forecasting that shit. And now looking at it now, it's like, wow, the world is almost as fucked as maybe like the music industry was in my mind fucking 15 years ago.
Yeah. We're not all queuing up at the same altar to get our little piece of bread or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You can go and get what you want from wherever. Do you know what I mean? Whatever you're into. Like, if you're, you know, you might be into like some crazy like ambient shit that I'm not on at all, but we're not, neither of us are like having to like go to the record shop and like look in the department. I think a big part of it actually is like the death of the record shop, and like how like music would have to be organized and filed and all that. And I'm like, oh, you know, where can I get X band? And they're like, oh yeah, they're gonna be in.
Yeah, maybe the social aspect of it as well.
Yeah, like not having, and things like I said, like, but it's weird that, going back to what we were saying at the beginning, you know, with the press and the radio and the PR and that all still being like kind of boxed in this way. That's because that's a very old school kind of dinosaur formula of doing things. But now the way music is consumed, like, I mean, Spotify have playlists or whatever, but it's not really organized in like such basic, blatant systems. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I'm gonna throw something else out there as well while we're on Spotify thing. Like, how many? I can throw names on, but I'm gonna hold it together. All right. I've got some serious like, you know, they should be in the cupboard kind of songs that, because I've got my headphones on, are just like, okay, yeah, this is a bit of a, no one else can hear me play it, so I'm listening to it. And then, you know, you get the nostalgia songs that people love to like hold on to, you know, 20 years on from it. So, and maybe there's something to be said about the it's like the ballot box, isn't it? You hide what your sins are within the comfort of your own phone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and then when your algorithm can get seriously, mine's mental, dude. Mine's absolutely like, you know, what could come next because of all the different things I listen to. It's it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with music streaming.
Me too. Me too.
But it is what it's. Do you know what I mean? It's the same way.
Yeah. Children of Zeus said on podcast, they said, try and make the music that you think's missing in your record collection.
Yeah, man, I'm with that.
Yeah.
That's 100% was the feeling for us on this most recent album. It's like, we've been a band for so long now, and there's like certain like sections of our following that like certain elements of our sound, and it's like, dude, you try and appease those people by doing X, Y, and Z, you're gonna go crazy and hate it.
Yeah.
So it just has like, what is the record or project or song or whatever that you're trying to hear right now?
Because you can't always rely on your fans neither, because they get hung up on.
Dude, the only reason the fans, you know, whatever you want to call them, people that support you, like, we got this far because we always thought it was good, and they know that we thought it was cool. So it has to continue being what we think is cool.
Totally.
Because otherwise, yeah, I think that will show.
How exciting is it right now? And it, with all of these kind of, you know, I'm going to throw, I think this is one of my favourite podcasts I've had. And this is just the start of the year, bro. Yeah, it's like, we're just getting started. Yeah. Because, you know, we're at the first quarter, and with all that we're talking about being said, and, you know, take it as you want, take it for what it is, I come away from this and I'm thinking, shit, I'm so excited. What the fuck's gonna happen next?
Yeah, man.
Do
There's
you know what I mean?
Absolutely no rules. The gloves are off. Like,
none, bro. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What the fuck's gonna happen? I mean, listen. Trump's in power. What the fuck? There could be a Sex Pistols waiting. You just don't know. If he can go in power, if the world can be the way it is, and we're all looking at it like, what the fuck's going on? Then there's no better time for some crazy shit out of nowhere to pop off. You just don't know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely time for someone out there to get a bit wild. Because I think as well, like, especially like, information is out there for all of us now. It's just whether or not you want to go and find it. And I think on a music level, like, music at the top end has just been like so unconscious for so very long.
I get tired of looking at the lineups on festivals, seeing the same names, same safe names all the time, and like it's like nothing is exciting because no one's putting the real money down for them. You know?
Yeah.
You see that, right?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, to be honest, yeah. But to be honest with you, I'd be lying if I said that the top end of the big stage of festivals have never particularly excited me anyway.
Neither, yeah,
when I was like 17 going to Reading festivals, I didn't care who was headlining the main stage.
No.
I was like going to see all the bands
You
I
go to
loved.
the second
like
tent.
the lock-up stage and all that. So
What's your favourite band you ever saw at a festival?
Oh, dude, I've seen a lot of bands, bro.
I know.
I've seen a lot of bands. Favourite band I ever saw at a festival, like, what has truly blown my mind? Saying that, one of the best shows, I'm thinking of mainstream stuff I've seen, one of the best shows I ever saw was Jay-Z when we played the Hackney Weekender. That was crazy.
Oh, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, that was wild.
Madness.
Best bands I ever saw at a festival, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's got to be something like... I'm trying to think. Like, I'm literally, the list of countries in my head that's flying past right now.
And you'll be on the train later on going,
Yeah. No, it's mad. We played punk rock bowling in Las Vegas in 2019, and that's like just in the middle of downtown Vegas. I saw Rancid play there. That was pretty crazy.
Oh my
God! Just all these punks in the middle of Vegas, just like going ape shit. Just
God,
yeah, that was crazy. Who else, man? Who's blown my head off at a festival?
Have you ever seen Horror play?
No,
That
I've never
shit's
seen Horror.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, our French booking agent was like telling us about their show.
But the thing is, it's like there's two of them, and there's the drummer. He's fucking nuts. He's just not in a kind of Keith Moon, watch him fucking go. It's more of a, he's just like
eating it whole,
and then they just like jumping over to the press play button, and the next thing they're just crowd surfing, crazy lights, blah, 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 and you just can't keep up.
Trash Talk was one of the craziest festival shows I've ever seen.
Trash Talk?
Yeah, they're like a hardcore band from Sacramento. And dude was just like, they had like a stage invasion. This was a Reading festival at the Lockout stage. The guitarist was like scaled like the scaffolding on the side of the stage. Singer's just in the middle of the crowd, like swinging his microphone. I was like, this microphone hits a kid in the face. Like someone's losing teeth.
Someone's gone, yeah.
And it was just absolute a riot. Yeah. I was like...
What to expect from a Skints show? Because I am going to go fucking see a Skints show. What to expect?
Man, it's like... Aggie, chill, thrill. We're like... It's bass and energy and fun. You know, our show is like, there's so much like reggae music in our show, ska music, but the way we present the show is really not like most reggae bands do. It's kind of more like a punk rock show.
Yeah, and you hang that punk angst energy more on the live show.
Yeah, I mean it's like in the performance is there, like we really do take pride in like the sonic capabilities of our performance. You know what I mean? We do like the 3-part harmonies and like, you know, trying to play real tight as good as we can and stuff like that. And then, but really like kind of in between the songs, that vibe is fun. Like we try and make the show really fun. Like our songs there's all different kind of tempos and moods going on.
Sick.
So like the dynamics of our show and like the places like we take it, like we're trying to really think about and stuff.
The journey,
like
the whole...
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, but ultimately, you know, as serious as some of our lyrics are and stuff like that, the show is like to me should be like the release of the people that are coming out and spending their £20 whatever to come watch you play. To them, like we do it every day. Do you know what I mean? But to them, it might be, it's like that's their night out, man. And they're here to have fun. So we just try and make...
That's such a good outlook.
Try and make the show like... I want you to walk out being like, that was a sick night.
Yeah. So it was a sick night.
Yeah.
And
like that even comes down to...
You paid for that.
Yeah, like it even comes to like the support bands and everything that we like try and bring. Like we just on our last tour, the swimming lessons tour, we like really tried to bring in like the production, like theatrical element more than we'd ever thought about before. Which when you're a band working with budgets like ours doesn't mean pyro, but we had like bubble machines. You know what I mean? We had and we built these boxes with like fans under them. The album's called Swimming Lessons.
Swimming Lessons, yeah.
We have all like these fake trees across the back of the stage we buy from IKEA to kind of get the tropical vibe. We like painted all our amps and drums white, and big like moon backdrop and stuff. Just like, yeah, we're just really trying to engage with you on like a sensory level.
That is awesome. Right now. I mean, I'm picturing it now. It's like it's something that I'm like a kind of,
and our whole thing like from the day one is just trying to level up what we've done before every year, man. So yeah, we're trying to take that into a more like a proper show, man. Which when you come from playing squats in Hackney and stuff, is kind of
it's the whole
it's kind of, I mean it's quite an art that we're proud of, but ultimately, yeah, good vibration, man. That's where we're at
all day. The Fontaines, have you heard of them?
Yeah, Fontaines, Dublin band. Yeah.
No, Scottish. I think they're from Glasgow, I think.
Okay. Fontaines DC? Is there two Fontaines? Fontaines DC is from Dublin City.
They're called La Fontaines.
Okay, La Fontaines is maybe a different band?
Yeah. They're from up north.
Okay.
I reckon you'd really get with that.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm sure you would have known them. They are very much they do the rap.
They play with like idols and stuff like that? Yeah.
Nice geezers. Really,
cool.
really nice guys. And super. Yeah, check them out, man. Because just as you was talking then, like, suddenly rang bells like, oh yeah, man. Like, that's a band that pop in equal measure. Like, I reckon there really is like it's a pendulum effect. And I also feel like, if the truth be known, I'm a massive like live band head. I personally would rather go and see a band over than going and seeing an MC and a DJ. I did all that when I was younger.
Yeah.
I like to be visually impressed as much as sonically. I want to know where things are coming from.
Right, this is the thing, and I feel like the backing track. There's a lot of bands that do the backing track thing now as well, and it's cool. It can make your sound bigger, but like for me, watching bands was always like, the thing was like, the music is being made on the spot right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Then a karaoke shit.
I love to like DJ. I mean, I DJ as well, like play music, mixing, all of that. There's definitely art to that, but there's just that something special of like, I can hit like the beat that we're dancing to. I can see the dude hitting the thing
totally.
That like we're like that's making our bodies move and everything.
Raw talent. Who's singing? He's singing. She's singing. That's happening. We know what's going on.
That's there right now. Those people on the stage are making all that noise, and that is making us want to move and all that. To me, that's magic. That's what magic is.
Total and utter magic.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's irreplaceable. So I reckon it's a pendulum thing. 100%.
Cool, man. Whatever the pendulum, bro, we're here, innit? Whatever way the pendulum wants to go, whatever,
which is crazy because when you think about
polka's the next thing, we're still going to be doing our thing. Do you know what I mean? So, well, it doesn't matter to me.
It's so good. Yeah. And weathering storms. I mean, whether it's our own personal struggles or social and industry struggles, it still makes for a great story as a band or as an artist. Or some of the fucking best acts. I love the fact that Nas's Illmatic pretty much defines him to his humble beginnings and where he's now.
He's keeping it real. I think all songwriting is like keeping it real is like where it's at. Like I'll listen to a song about anything if I believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's where it becomes relatable. Like Illmatic. Like I've never been in none of the situations that he talks about on that record, but I can relate to it because I know it's the truth.
Yeah. You can hear it, you can feel it. So maybe, the truth is yet to emerge and some shit.
Yeah.
Philosophies of Killa Kela Podcast, which we'd like to indulge in.
It's good, man.
It's fucking sick, bro. Thank you so much for
Mate,
passing
absolute
through,
pleasure,
real.
bruv.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, man.
bro.
Yeah,
Love to the
wicked.
peeps, right? Love to the guys, yeah.
Definitely, man.
Mate, wow. So, yeah, deep one, but fucking awesome. Well, kickstart first quarter of Killa Kela Podcast, all right? Listen, subscribe, do all that business. Do not sleep on it. I repeat, do not sleep on this, repeat. Subscribe, like, and all that stuff. Check out the Skints, man. Cool as fuck. We out like that. Thanks, Josh.
Blow.
Peace!
AG Dentistry. In my line of work, not only does what I do with the mouth get reviewed, it's also my instrument. And it's beyond important to me that my teeth get the professional service they deserve. The AG family provide expert dentistry, whether it's NHS or cosmetic. They're the finest in London. Head over to agdentistry.co.uk for more information on treatments and prices. AG Dentistry.